Wholeness and Balance family. Thank you all for tuning in. My name is Nick, aka Nick the Mystic. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're about to get into social anxiety and how to cope with it in this crazy world that we live in today. I just want to share a little bit of my personal experience. This is something that's been on my heart for years, and because of anxiety, I have not wanted to come on camera. I've been concerned or fearful of what people might say about me, what I look like. That in and of itself we'll dive into. But I'm so grateful that you're tuning in today. I just want to share some of the tools that have been helping me on a natural form, a natural path of working through my social anxiety, rather than diving into medications or anything like that. Learning how to deal with social anxiety in a natural way and how to actually move past it, cope with it, live with it on a day-to-day basis. So let's get into it. Let's go.
We are the chosen. This is the age of Aquarius. The times are right for us to take back our chariots. Burning brighter than the Amazon fire. Fuel engineers sell us like Judas Iscariot. Various words that's leading us to soldier sacrifice.
So thank you guys for tuning in again. My name's Nick, and we're about to dive into it today. This is my first official video. I've done many of these drafts on video, and I've yet to put them out. So regardless of what this looks like, what this sounds like, how nonsensical my verbiage may be, I'm going to just put it out because I feel that calling in my heart. I feel like we're all going through a lot of crazy stuff right now. I'm not trying to come on YouTube, even though I have this name, Nick the Mystic. It's just a funny play on words. There's a deeper meaning behind it, but there's no sense of entitlement as if I'm better or I know everything, because if anything, the more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know. So there's something really powerful that I learned with one of my buddies that's been through the NA program, the Narcotics Anonymous program. And there's a saying that they believe, that they teach, that's so powerful. And it's essentially, you can only keep what you have by giving it away. You can only keep what you have by giving it away. And it's so easy to carry on in life, go through all these challenges and lessons, and not share those bits of treasure, those nuggets of truth through that experience with other people. I feel like that's the whole reason that we're here on earth, is to go through these different challenges in different ways. This today we're focusing on anxiety, and I feel like it's something that's quite common. I guess 1 out of 7 people in the whole world, or probably more so in the United States or in the Western civilizations, deal with anxiety, social anxiety, the pressures of day-to-day interaction. As weird as that sounds, that truly is a phobia, and there's a lot of science behind it. There's a lot of purpose behind why it's so prevalent, and that will probably be for another video, behind the mechanics of why we deal with this on such a devastating level. But my goal here is to give what I've learned freely. As I've learned it, as I've gone through the personal experiences myself with social anxiety, and I always made a vow with myself that no matter how bad it gets, no matter how desperate I get, I'm not going to go resort to pharmaceuticals. And there's a lot of reason behind me not doing that. And again, we can get into that in another video. This is one of my first videos opening up, talking about my experience with social anxiety. Most people that see me would be like, dude, I would never imagine you even feeling anxious, let alone dealing with this on a day-to-day issue. And it's been a struggle for me for years. When I mean years, I mean probably the last 6 or 7 years. The first 5 were socially crippling, where I would avoid family, I would avoid everybody, I would avoid phone calls. God forbid there was some kind of business meeting or even meeting with friends. I mean, everything I did, my social anxiety completely crippled me. And I let it get to that point because I just allowed it to fester, and I made such a huge monster, like the Wizard of Oz, the monster behind the curtain. You make this huge monster of something you're dealing with because you're so afraid of dealing with it, you try to just like reposition your mind and say, no, I'm not anxious. No, I shouldn't feel this. I shouldn't feel this. And it's a spiritual principle. What you resist will persist. So what you fight against will continue to manifest for you as a sign from the universe of like, you need to overcome this. You need to face this thing head on. It's not your fault that you're dealing with this. A lot of times this stems from trauma. This stems from childhood trauma. If you went through emotional abuse in your house, if you went through physical abuse or bullying, or there's so many things that could amount to this. And I think I don't like putting labels on things, and I feel like unfortunately in our society nowadays, everything is labeled. You deal with something, you have depression, you have bipolar, you have this, you have that. There's validity to that because it gives verbiage to what we're dealing with. And I think that's important to understand the core subliminal or subconscious programs that are manifesting in our daily life as issues, emotional health, emotional dis-ease. But sometimes we hang too closely on the labels, and that label itself ends up debilitating us because we're attached to a crutch. When in actuality, you are the entire universe. You are bigger on the inside than you are on the outside. Like, that's the truth. Even though we don't feel it, even though we don't see it, whatever we may imagine that would manifest as, the truth is the truth. There's spirituality behind it, there's science behind it, there's metaphysics behind it, quantum physics behind it. There's so much truth to the actual nature of what you are within you, like beyond this whole physical shell that you see on camera. The true essence of who you are, your spirit, your soul, that has been here numerous times. And to Christian viewers or those that may be more conservative in their views, hang with me, because there's some nuggets that I have to give to you as well, and take them with a grain of salt as if everything else, because that's another journey that I've been through. And I think that also added to me feeling anxious, was a lot of pressure that I put on myself. So anxiety, feeling anxious, for me, would essentially feel like coming into an interaction, for example, going to work, walking through the door, actually not even making it in the parking lot, waking up in the morning feeling already going through the ritual of the day, who you might see, who you might bump into, conversations that you should have kept up with that you haven't, all these different things that gets your mind to focus on other people judging you. In my personal experience, this is what I went through. I was so concerned with other people's views of myself, other people's perceptions of myself, that I lost my own perception. I didn't even think about what I was seeing. I was bumbling through my day-to-day, and I was discombobulated. I literally felt disconnected from my body. I felt like an alien was living in my body, just kind of like using my vessel. It was weird, but these are things that I've actually felt, things I've told myself, I've heard. I would just really analyze this, because going through this process the first 5 years sucked so bad. I'd get so desperate, I'd be on the verge of literally feeling suicidal, because it was so hard to get out of bed. I just felt, I'd wake up and I'd feel so heavy. I didn't even get a chance to take my first couple breaths in the morning. I didn't even pick up my phone or anything. I just woke up and I was already feeling heavy. And I know the power of the mind. I know the power of the will. I understand these concepts and these principles in my head, but my body was doing and saying a whole nother thing, and literally would lead me throughout the day. And I would just somehow duck and dodge throughout the entire day. I wasn't living. I was surviving. I'd never understood what it meant to enjoy a conversation. I never knew what it meant to actually listen to somebody. I mean, I would hear them, I'd hear the words they say, but I would be so caught up in my head about, how do I respond? I hope I say the right thing. Wonder what this person's thinking about me. Are they judging me? Do they see me in this? And I just went through all of the different plethora of things in my head that I was concerned about, instead of being concerned about the most important person in this story, which is me, which is you. anybody watching this, you are the most important character in your movie, and don't you forget that. When you start feeling like you're background noise, or you start feeling like you don't exist or you're not important, that's when it's time to start reevaluating your perspective, reevaluating your circle, your life, your mindset. Because I notice when that starts to happen, that's when you start to set in the background. And if you continue in that way and you keep retreating, you keep going into your shell, and you keep pushing everything away, you solidify that behavior. I think scientifically they say it takes 63 days, give or take, to establish a new habit. If you do that same pattern subconsciously, unconsciously, just you're doing it as a defense mechanism, or because whatever it is, you're feeling insecure, you're feeling self-conscious, you're feeling anxious, depressed, whatever it is, whatever your excuse, if you keep that habit up and you do it for 63 days, which time is speeding up right now, so months are flying, months are feeling like weeks, are feeling like days. I'm looking at the calendar and I'm like, I don't know what happened last month, because time is moving so fast, which is why being anxious and having social anxiety, or having anxiety in general, robs you of life, because life is all about this present moment. As you're listening to me, this moment, as we're engaging, you're watching me, either you're listening to me or whatever, or you just happen to stumble on my page, it wasn't by accident, it happened for a reason. And again, this is my first video I'm putting out, but I'm speaking truth to you, I'm speaking life to you. You can feel this. If you're at home, if you're watching through this camera and you're feeling anxious or you're feeling heavy, my words are resonating with you, because we are one spirit. We share the same experience. Even though we walk different backgrounds, even though we have different colors of skin or names or cultures or beliefs, that means nothing. That matters to no avail. We are all one spirit, but we go through these experiences to help other people. Hence, me bringing myself back to the first point of you can only keep what you have by giving it away. And that's why it's just so important for me to do this and to be consistent with this. I thank you again for watching. If you've made it this far in the video, this is 100% confirmation you weren't here by chance, because nobody should have found this video. This is me recording in my garage, in my shed, pouring out my heart, but my spirit is open and my experience is genuine. If I can help one single person out there, I don't care about the money. I'll put things on here. I'll recommend different resources, things that have helped me in my journey, or different types of products or services. And again, if you find that shilling, I'm sorry, but I believe that there are products, and sometimes you have to pay. You get what you pay for. And I've spent so much money on so many different things, and I found little bits and pieces of truth in everything. Even the things that costed the most, that seemed like the biggest waste and the biggest scam, there was always a little nugget of truth in that experience. And if I can give that to you for free, if the resources are a blessing, then awesome, that's my goal. But above all, I want to be able to offer words of hope, words of encouragement, words of truth, that wherever you are in this journey, however far along you've come with dealing with anxiety, today is your day of changing. It can change. I am living proof of that. Now, do I deal with anxiety from day to day, or does it still come back? Yeah, there's days I've noticed for me, because I'm a little more tuned in, I'm a little more spiritual. I'm a Cancer, so I'm naturally affected by the moon, by the tides. When it's full moon, I feel fantastic. When it's new moon, I'm not feeling so good. And I'm actually recording this video on a new moon, which is the proper time to start planting seeds. But this time right now is when I feel the most prone to anxiety. A week ago, out of nowhere, I started feeling anxious at work. And for the first 2 hours of work, I was pretty damn anxious. I was feeling like I was stuck in my head, and all I was thinking was dude, we've overcome this. Why am I going through this again? And it was sometimes I've noticed that the universe will bring lessons that you graduated from back over. Like in school, when you get a final, a review or something, and you go through everything you learned through in the year, and you're like, damn, I learned that in the first half of the year, but I kind of forgot it. And you go through those lessons in life, and they remind you all of those nuggets of truth that you learned through that experience, as tough as it was, and as alone as you felt in that experience, you pulled nuggets of truth. Whether you feel like you failed or passed that test, that's irrelevant. You were there for that experience alone. When you go through that experience, you know now what you should do or what you probably shouldn't do, given what you did the last time you went around that same circle. So I felt that the last week, and I knew, especially now with this new blood moon, there's a lot of things. If you're listening to this right now and you're still alive, you are so, you really are, have no idea that you are here for something so much greater than you can even imagine. This time right now in history, despite all the fear and all the chaos going on in the world, politically, economically, religiously, like all these levels, there's a breakdown of society, and this is happening because we're transitioning into a new age of civilization. And in the transition of that new age, you deal with the breakdown of what was old to bring in what is new. But you're feeling that not only on the macrocosm with what's going on in the world and what's going on in politics with number 45. I can't even say his name on YouTube because you get banned now, but number 45, you know who I'm talking about, the one who got his ceremony stolen from Joe B. Ryan. And anyway, this isn't a political talk. We're going to get on that in another video, but I'm bringing to fruition the things that are going on in the world on a macro level and also on a micro level, what's going on within you, because what's happening on the outside is a reflection of what's happening on the inside. Because we're going through all this stuff on the outside, it's because we're going through all this stuff on the inside. So I never had somebody to literally sit down and walk me through this, nor did I have somebody to explain what anxiety even was. I spent years going, what the hell is wrong with me? Excuse me. I don't feel right. I don't feel like myself, but I never knew what that was. Excuse me. I never knew what that manifested as. I didn't know what anxiety actually was. But now, looking back, I'm now going to be 33 years old, which, crazy. Time goes by so fast. There's so many years of experience. There's so many years of mistakes and of success and all the different things that I've went through on my personal journey. And what I want to try to do is just find the keys that have worked in my own area. If you're seeing what's going on the pharmaceutical industry, you're seeing what's happening with these COVID-19. I don't even know how far I have to go with this censorship stuff, but I'm going to escape the algorithms while I can, while this is new. You're seeing the negative detriments, the negative aspects of the bang bang, the Fauci algae. Now, whether you got it or not, that's a personal choice. I'm not going to go into that on this channel, or we'll probably go into this later, but there's a lot of people that are waking up to the dangers of what those are, and then you start going back and you look at the CDC. This video is going to sound so ridiculous with me sounding like I'm a stuttering Stanley. I'm just hearing myself talk, and I'm like, CDC, like I hear him like a remix, CDC, CDC. Anyway, so there's people out there that are questioning how natural is pharmaceutical components or chemicals or pills or whatever. And I think we're going to come to the conclusion here very soon, within the short, probably couple years. I'll be surprised if we go past 3 or 4 years. I'm guessing this year people will start really waking up to the negative detriments of pharmaceuticals and the whole pharmaceutical industry itself. But we're so trained and we're so used to getting instant gratification. And where I'm from, America, clearly, we need resolutions right now. Actually, we know we need resolutions yesterday, because right now it's too late. We're so impatient. We're used to just clicking a button and we can get whatever we want. We want groceries, we want a movie, we want weed, we want alcohol. You can get it at a click. So we are so conditioned to being instantly gratified, and that right there is robbing your dopamine filters right there. If you're binge watching Netflix, like, you're pumping that dopamine right out of your system. I'd say, if you can, balance that as much as you can. Replace whatever. If you put an hour into Netflix, put an hour into an audiobook or an hour into a podcast. Do something that's going to stimulate your brain while you're just kind of like marinating in front of the zombie machine. Anyway, to each their own, but there's a lot of great science behind what's really going on in the media, in entertainment. Again, I just want to give you guys everything that I've found the hard way. I want to give it to you straight and raw. So there's going to be things you don't agree with me on, or there's going to be things that trigger you because they might be sacred cows in your life. I have my sacred cows. I struggle with my issues too. I'm no way perfect. I'm just trying to show you avenues that opened up before me and going the wrong way so many times, and now looking back and going, okay, now I see the way that should have been done. And through the different research, because it doesn't stop. When you're hurting, you're looking for a solution. We have two driving forces in life. Two. Tony Robbins talks about this. This is a common NLP understanding, sales tactic. There's two principles that would drive a human to change: the attainment of satisfaction, the attainment of something that's gratifying, or the fleeing from pain. You have inspiration and desperation. This is what it comes down to: inspiration and desperation. When you're inspired, great. I was inspired to do this YouTube channel 5 years ago. Inspiration will take you so far. Desperation, when you feel the absolute painstaking agony within you to change something because you're hurting so much, 9 times out of 10, we're catapulted by that negative driving force, the fleeing of pain, the avoidance of suffering. But what we don't realize is the avoidance of suffering will lead us to the sense of gratification. It goes equally. So there are those that seek gratification that end up finding these higher truths, because drugs can only take you so far. Alcohol can only take you so far. I mean, whatever it is in life can only take you so far. It's once you break that barrier, that invisible barrier in life, where you can choose to continue down the negative path, or you can actually choose the higher path. And it may not be manifested with material wealth and all of these things that are perceived as valuable, but truly are the most valuable, tangible assets that you take, not only in this world and all your experiences, but in the next one to come and the ones after that. Those are the things that you should be the most concerned about. Screw what's going on Instagram. Screw what's going on your favorite rapper, your artist. Like, seriously, dude, it means absolutely nothing. It's great to have wealth and abundance, but the focus, you came to this world to go through these experiences. So no matter where you are, gratitude is such a powerful component. When you can understand to be grateful for the little. I was counting my blessings in a 25-foot trailer I was living in with my wife. We were trying to find homes. Nothing was working out. Every time we'd get into escrow and an investor would buy it out in cash. There's so many things in life that will keep you feeling from being grateful, keep you feeling like you're a victim, like, oh, poor me, the universe is against me, God is mad at me. Like, shut that crap down, because that, you will instill your future with that type of thinking. If you continue down that road and you marinate on those thoughts, continually, like I said, 63 days, it goes by really, really fast. But if you're going through some stuff and more bad stuff happens and more bad stuff on top of that happens, you're conditioned already that the world's out to get you. And then that 63 days is up and you just conditioned yourself for probably a couple years of some crap that you didn't even need to go through. But maybe you needed to. Maybe you needed that experience. I needed that experience. I'm putting this video out once again to clarify that I don't have the answers. I'm not a guru. I'm not, even though I claim I'm Nick the Mystic and I feel like I know a lot of stuff, I really don't feel like I know much, you know. But the things that I do have, the things that I have learned and I have personally walked through, because you can't teach something unless you've personally walked through it, I want to give to you guys freely. I'm looking at the clock. We're already at 25 minutes. If you're still tuned into this video right now, wow. You were meant to hear this message. This didn't happen by design. And by all means, hit that subscribe button. If you can, please like that button. I know that I get lazy too when people tell you, oh, smash that like button. You're like, I got so much going on. I come at work or I'm talking to somebody or whatever. If you can smash that like button, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. But stick around. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much that I've learned. I've literally dedicated the last 7 years of my life, probably more, since 09, really, consciously since 09, is when I had a transformation. I had, if you would say, a spiritual awakening. I'll go through that in further videos. If you're interested, definitely tune in, definitely subscribe, because you're going to want to stay posted, because there's some really, really amazing stuff. The deepest questions, the things that you are wondering at such a deep level, beyond anxiety, beyond depression, because those are just excuse me, byproducts of something that you're dealing with on an emotional level. When you start diving into the true essence of why you're here, who you are, what is your soul, again, take it with a grain of salt. I just want to give you what I've discovered, the little nuggets of truth, the little bits of wisdom that I was able to obtain, the things that I can harvest on my journey. I want to make sure to share to those around me too, to keep what I have. I want to give what I have. I want to keep what I have by giving it away. And there's a principle in the Bible says, for whom much is given, much is required. What I've received freely, I give freely, and that's what I do in this video. So I want to dive more deeply into anxiety, into social disorders, or different things that I've dealt with on a personal issue. But I thank you for staying tuned with this video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure, actually, because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this video into two. So there's going to be part 2. Check out part 1, which is maybe is a more professional approach. Not a professional, because I'm not a professional in that aspect, but production value, what I'm trying to put together on a video. It's a lot more cohesive, it's a lot more understandable because I'm doing it as a recording. So check that out. Check out part 1. If you found this video, make sure to check out part 1 of this video, because it makes things a little bit more smoothly transition. This video was intentioned to just share my personal experience, to break the ice of me being on camera, because I keep looking over here at my ugly mug and it's messing me up. So I'm gonna leave it where it is. I'm gonna drop it while it's hot. But I thank you for tuning in. I've got some resources down below. I have some free resources, and there's some paid, some supplements, or some things that have helped me. Feel free to take a look. By no means, don't feel obligated to buy anything. Take advantage of the free resources. I'll put some things to listen to while you're sleeping. A lot of it is frequency, binaural beats, things that will actually rewire your mind at a subconscious level to help you deal with that. Other ones are depending on your dependency, or not your dependency, your desperation level. If you really want to get this thing kicked into gear and knocked out of your life for good, there's some other resources down below that may actually be paid. But check them out. If it's something that resonates with you, try it out, because to me, the most important investment is within yourself. You can buy Bitcoin, you can buy gold, you can buy silver, you can buy all the stuff out there in the world. But if you're truly not happy, none of that means anything at all. So the investment that counts the most, that I've learned, When I've put money into anything in my life, and I've spent and I've lost a lot of money putting investments, taking risks, because I knew that's where payments come off. That's the greater the risk, the greater the reward, but also the greater the loss. And I've gone through quite a bit of loss. If you're desperate enough to try to find a resolution, if you're desperate enough to get out of the suffering that you're dealing with, there's no price value. Well, there is, because obviously what you make, your budget, all that stuff has a part to play. And I'm not trying to break anybody's bank or anything like that. I know the importance and the hurt. I wish I could help every single person in person, you know, and maybe the future will hold that, or maybe I can start doing Zoom videos. We'll see what the future has, but I want to be able to give to you what I can in this resource, and we'll see what the future allows, what God, universe, higher self, source allows. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to me ramble and rant and probably sound like a dummy on this video. But I don't care. I hope that there was some treasure that was given to you. I hope that there was some inspiration. There was some hope. I just speak wholeness and balance over you, over your mind, body, and soul. Every cell in your body resonating at a balanced frequency. I wish you nothing but the greatest experience in life, whatever that may manifest as. Give you exactly what you need right here at this moment. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking me out. Hit that subscribe button. Like this video, please. Drop a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to get introduced to you guys. Submit questions. If you've dealt with anxiety, let me know, please. If there's something I can help you with, drop me a comment, drop me a message, or however this thing works. I'm so new, I don't even know if you can do personal messages on YouTube. But either way, I'll make a resource for that to be available. This is new, day of new beginnings, but I know how to do a lot of things like that and get things dialed in. So I'm putting this out here to see if we can maybe plant some seeds in the soil, given that we're jumping into summertime here. Should have been planted in spring, but you know, better late than never. So I'm planting those seeds. Connect with me. I love you guys. Have an amazing day. Wholeness and balanced vibration. Thank you for tuning in. Nick the Mystic out.
Take back the money they sold, like the program in the media, last that they sold you. The only return on investment that we're receiving is a birth certificate proof.